What? You're just putting the plates in the bin?
No. Yeah.
Hello all, and welcome to the final episode of this multi-part DHMIS Theory series for Season 1 of this new show. It's been a hell of a journey getting here, and now we will use everything we've discovered in the other episodes to wrap it up in one tight bow. But wait, I think we're still missing something. I really feel like there was one thing we were supposed to... That's right! Clay Hill! What happened to Clay Hill? I mean, clearly, Wakey Wakey is not the direction that the creators went in. They have been on record multiple times saying that they didn't like the direction that the show went, and it seemed a little too South Parky, so they came up with the current show that we all know and love. So that means Wakey Wakey never happened, correct? Well, let's figure it out. Let's head all the way up to the attic.
Batteries can be replaced, but some things stay the same. No matter how we twist and turn.
Not now, Lesley. We know that the Wakey Wakey version of the show is canceled, but we have still seen it. We know that Wakey Wakey takes place in a town called Clay Hill, as we can see here in the trailer for that version of the show. But here's the thing. We know of Clay Hill. In episode 5, when Red Guy is trying to find a place to go, the GPS says this.
Just down here?
I'm sorry, that place doesn't exist anymore.
What? What happened to it?
Just shriveled up, I reckon.
We see that this is Clay Hill, but the GPS says it doesn't exist anymore. We can write down that it no longer exists, but what could the importance of Clay Hill even be? Well, it's actually extremely important. Throughout this show, we see many different strange occurrences from previous show elements. We see the old teachers and props from the previous YouTube series, such as pictures. Now, we already know why that is, and it's because Lesley is reusing her props, which is a very common thing to do, such as E.T. appearing in Star Wars, or the Golden Idol in Raiders of the Lost Ark appearing in the 2001 movie The Majestic. Now, if props and characters from the YouTube series appeared in the show, could props from Wakey Wakey have appeared here? Well, yes. If we take a look at one of the only clips from the original Wakey Wakey pilot, if we could stare past the pixels for a minute, you can see that right here is a character that may seem a little bit familiar. It's Yellow Guy's shy brother. There were props from Wakey Wakey that are used in the official show. If the town of Clay Hill at least somewhat existed in the world of the show, and props from Wakey Wakey are also used in the show, then Wakey Wakey has to be involved in this show somehow. To answer this, we have to do some digging. Now, we know that in the lore of the show, there is at least one creator, just like how there is a creator for the real show. This is currently a very bad connection that doesn't answer much, but there is one thing that I discussed a little bit all the way back at the beginning of the series. The ending of the YouTube series, where Red Guy has his awakening, parallels the exact way that the actual creators started making DHMIS. It's almost the exact same. Starting with a job that they didn't really enjoy, they slowly started creating an idea for a show, making versions of the puppets that they consider to be basic, simplistic, and not very advanced, before fully creating the show we all know and love. This is the exact thing that we see Red Guy do, and the exact thing that the actual creators of the show did. We can see them already putting their own experiences into the show. Now's the part where we actually start connecting this to Wakey Wakey. Let's go back to what the GPS said. It said that there was a town there, but now it's gone. It just disappeared. This is weird. Not just the fact that it disappeared, but the fact that we have actually seen this before. Back in September 13th of 2018, the creators released a trailer called Wakey Wakey to the official DHMIS channel to tease the release of the new show. However, on May 26th of 2022, Wakey Wakey just disappeared. The GPS says that Clay Hill doesn't exist anymore, and that's what happened. The show was removed, and just like with the YouTube series, the props were recycled into this new show. But here's the thing. How do we know that the show already happened? What if it was still under construction and my entire theory is wrong? There has to be something I'm missing. Just one small thing that can clear everything up. What could it be? Wait a minute. Episode 6 has the prop box, and we see Red Guy and Duck walking around in it, but we also see something else. We don't just see the fridge in the prop box, but we also see another fridge. And look at that. Right smack in the dead center, as if it's spelling it out for us. A picture of Yellow Guy in a party hat. Now, hold on. How did this explain anything? I mean, they had a big day for Duck in episode 2, so they probably just had a party hat from that and then took a photo to put on the fridge, correct? Well, no. In the entire sequence for the big day, there is no party hat to be seen. They don't wear a party hat. So then, what is it for? Well, let's take a look at the leaked footage for the original Wakey Wakey show pilot.
Wakey wakey to the new day, and today is my birthday.
Pause. Right there. Yellow Guy says that it's his birthday. He's wearing a party hat here on the fridge, and we have never seen Yellow Guy in a party hat. This would have to be for his birthday. Just like the original YouTube show, the Wakey Wakey show already happened, and paralleled with what the real creators of the show did, the Wakey Wakey timeline was destroyed. The council already did Wakey Wakey, and Lesley reused the props from his birthday. Okay, so now we know that there are 3 different versions of this show that have happened before. The YouTube series, the Wakey Wakey series, and the official show. It's finally time. Let's make a timeline. Here we go. The first thing to put on it is pretty easy. It's the formation of the council in whatever form of the word. Then we have the birth of David. Many years later, David, Lesley, and Roy move to Melhoven. The next point is one that is shared by 3 characters. We have David, who gets hit by his mother's car. We have the real red guy, who seemingly drives into a lake, which is most likely the reason that he didn't get a pound for doing that activity, as he never completed it. And then we have real Duck, who dies from dehydration. Shortly after that, Roy and Lesley split, which is also probably the reason they are never seen together in any of the shows. Next, we get to the death of Roy. Then, Lesley would have gotten involved with the council, which will directly lead to the involvement of Roy, and then the formation of Yellow Guy, Red Guy, and Duck. Now is where it gets complicated. We need to figure out which version of the show happened first. To figure this out, we have to consider each individual version of the show. We know that the YouTube series is on June 19th, the official show is on June 20th, but when is the Wakey Wakey series? Well, if the series takes place on his birthday, and we know that his birthday is not on either the 19th or the 20th, it would have to take place before or after that. Well, we see the picture from his birthday on the fridge, so the Wakey Wakey show can't take place after June 20th, which means that the Wakey Wakey series is the first series in this timeline. Let's put in the creation of Clay Hill right here. The problem with the show is that it never happened, so sadly, everything we discuss with it is entirely speculatory. But at least we can look at a few patterns. In the original YouTube series, Red Guy had an awakening where he saw the lives of the creators. In the official show, it was Yellow Guy who had a much bigger awakening. The most powerful characters in each version of the show are the ones who have the awakening. This is entirely speculatory, but we can most likely assume that Duck had a very small awakening as he becomes mayor of Clay Hill in Wakey Wakey, and in doing so becomes the most powerful character of that show. It'll probably be the least of all the awakenings, as it is the position of least power compared to the leader of the gang and then the battery-powered genius, but it is still most likely a form of awakening. Once again, because this is all speculatory, we'll put Duck's awakening in italics. Finally, Clay Hill is completely destroyed and scrapped, so let's put that in our timeline too. This is also the very first reset in our timeline, so let's also put that next to it. Now that we get to the shows that we've seen, each with their own episodes, we aren't going to put each episode in with the timeline respectively, considering that the shows aren't meant to be linear, rather episodic. The main ideas and plot developments, however, are going to go into the timeline. The next big thing is the start of the YouTube series, as it's on June 19th. There we go, the start of the YouTube series. Next major plot point would be the beginning of Red Guy's awakening, where he sees the low budget development of the show. We'll call that his mind-blowing awakening. Get it? Because his head, mind-blown. No? Alright. The next major plot point would be Red Guy communicating with Duck about his awakening. However, Duck wasn't so lucky and never had the chance for his own awakening, as the creators of the show kept putting him back into different locations before finally getting rid of him. So the attempted communication will go right here. The final major event of the show will be Red Guy discovering the prop box. It's not as big, but the first prop box discovery is still a stepping stone, so let's put that in as well. The final big event of the YouTube series will be the ending. Well, in actuality, it's the second reset. And with that, we are finally finished with the Wakey Wakey series and the YouTube series. Now we're on to the official show. The in-between for the YouTube series and the official show is going to be very speculatory, but we have gathered a decent amount of evidence for each of these plot points, so we still need to put them in. Many of these points have to overlap though, as we don't know exactly when these specific things happen in respect to each other. I think it's safe to assume that at this point, Lesley is beginning to become extremely unhappy, so let's put that in as well. I think we can also add something else here, and that would be Lesley replacing Yellow Guy's batteries. I don't think we can put this at any other place, as Yellow Guy is dumb in both the YouTube show and in everything that we know for Wakey Wakey. One more thing we can pile on top of everything is the creation of the very first dollhouse. We're done with this first placement here, and now we can go on to what happened after. Considering Yellow Guy is smart now and that the dollhouse is made, we know that now he makes his very first journey upstairs, which will be the very first instance that Lesley will use for this picture that we see on the wall. There's also a very important distinction we need to make right here. Another piece of evidence that these dollhouses change is the amount of floors that they have. Back when Yellow Guy is climbing the stairs in episode 6, we only have one instance of Yellow Guy climbing the stairs on the wall, but when he's opening the door, there are 3 instances of Yellow Guy opening the door on that wall. With this, we can know that the first dollhouse only has 1 floor, and there were no stairs for Yellow Guy to climb. In the next spot, we have to begin overlapping again. We know that Yellow Guy creates his language, which will lead to him writing the book on his plan for their escape, so we can put that right here. But at the same time, we see that he goes upstairs once again based on the picture, but we don't really know what this was for yet. And then there is another reboot. This new dollhouse now has stairs, as we can see based on the picture on the stairs. This is also the dollhouse that we see in the first few episodes of the show. Then Yellow Guy goes back upstairs, giving Lesley the book. At the same time that he's doing this, he's also attempting to teach Red Guy and Duck his language. Slowly but surely, Yellow Guy's batteries begin dying. So at the exact same time, he writes himself a note on the whiteboard to try to remember the book, while he and Lesley also write the symbols in multiple places around the house. Finally, we get to the beginning of the show. The next big moment is in episode 1. Duck performs a successful reenactment of his workplace job and earns £1 from the council. We don't really have much else that happens until episode 5, when things start to get very important. Red Guy, Yellow Guy, and Duck break out of the house, and in a way, break out of their world. We have to make a clear distinction here about the David scene in this episode. This is not currently happening. This is a memory of Yellow Guy's. This is why we place this moment much earlier on the timeline, and also why he doesn't get £1 from it, because this is not currently happening. There is one final thing we have to consider in this episode as well. At the very end, we see another dollhouse as the show gets reset once again. Now we have every major event from the beginning of the story up to the end of the 5th episode. Now, we're on the final and most confusing episode of them all. The final episode starts with the last dollhouse, but at some point, we reset once again to get to the new 3-floor dollhouse. We have to make the distinction that the dollhouse we are in throughout the episode is a different dollhouse than the one we see at the beginning of the episode. In this new dollhouse, the first major event that occurs is Yellow Guy's batteries being swapped back. Doing so causes Yellow Guy to remember his former life and begin remembering some of his language. Now that we've put that in, the next big event that occurs is when Yellow Guy is communicating with Lesley in the attic. When Lesley hands Yellow Guy the book, this is a major event, as Yellow Guy's initial plan is coming together. We also have to add in Red Guy and Duck going into the prop box at the same time as this is happening. Then we go into the next major event, where Yellow Guy gets his batteries replaced with dead ones. This is not the only important thing that happens at this time, as this is also when everything gets reset again. We finally get to our last dollhouse, the one from the attic. Now, the final event. The book is shredded. Whew. It's done. After months of theorizing, collabs with multiple people, brainstorming for hours a day, and rewatching this entire show dozens of times, we've done it. That is the timeline. From the creation of the council, to the death of the main characters, to the creation of the Wakey Wakey series, to the YouTube series, and then to this final version. Now, another important question will be, what does Season 2 have to offer? Well, we have absolutely no evidence to back anything up, but I assume that this will be the first on-screen awakening for Duck, which will lead to them all trying to break out together, unsure of the correct way to do it as the book was shredded, but doing it anyway after multiple unsuccessful attempts. I also assume that there will be some sort of betrayal from Lesley while she gives a heartbreaking monologue about the pain and suffering she endured from the loss of David, until they all finally escape with Lesley left behind, either alive or dead. Again, we have absolutely no evidence for any of this, but with my experiences with these types of shows, and as a writer myself, I would assume that this could be one of the directions that the show may lead, but again, this is most likely not going to be correct. So, we've created a timeline of events and answered the most important questions of the series. Of course, this isn't all the questions that we could possibly ask, but these were the important ones. And if you do have any other questions that you want me to answer, make sure you comment them down below, and if we get enough of them, I'll do one final epilogue-style video on them, even though I'm very happy that I was able to answer all of these questions in a 6-episode series, just like both versions of the show, hence why the last one, if there needs to be, will be an epilogue. This journey for solving the answers that Season 1 provided is finally over. This has been one hell of a journey. What started with one of my biggest videos ever turned into a huge influx of people that ended with almost 25,000 subscribers, which is still absolutely unbelievable to say. All you amazing people watching this show are everyone that this series is for, hell, that this channel is for. This journey has led to meeting so many amazing people, creating collaborative videos with amazing people like Kai, who helped me analyze the symbols on the book, and even being able to do something with MatPad of FilmTheory, where we talked about the book and many more elements of the show. Really, the only thing I can say is a big, huge thank you, but a personal thank you to you who is watching this. This isn't something where it's someone behind the scenes that changes some numbers around in the views, likes, and subscribers. It's you. You watching this right now. Deeply and truly, thank you. If any of you have any ideas for videos that you would like me to make, let me know in the comments below. If there are any things I may have missed or that you want me to discuss, don't be shy to comment on that as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.